Okay, then that's good. So yeah, welcome everyone to Story Merchant's first webinar, first event of the year, Prospects for 2026, What Today's Market Means for Writers Now. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun discussion today. But yeah, before we get to know the writing and the publishing process of Story Merchant, that's kind of what we're gonna talk a little bit more about today with Ken, Dr. Ken Asherty. Um, I kind of want to talk a little bit about Story Merchant. As a whole, it's kind of like a big tree trunk with a bunch of branches. So our big branches are the Writer's Lifeline and Story Merchant books. And I guess the difference between them is that Writer's Lifeline helps a lot with the writing craft itself. So if you want to enhance your story, or if you don't know where to move in a story, we can help more of the bigger picture stuff. And then Story Merchant books would kind of help with your personalized publishing journey, whether it be for a children's book with an illustrator or a historical fiction book with lots of research and a bigger fact checking process. So it really depends on what book you're providing. Um, but yeah, Ken, a lot of you know him already, but he's got a lot of professional, academic, and editorial and
Good
production
afternoon.
experience.
Welcome to Wells Fargo Reward
Oh,
Service. This call may be recorded or
someone's
monitored. My
muted.
name is
Sorry.
Letitia. Can I please have your account number to access your account? This is your credit card number or rewards ID number.
1 second.
You can just mute everybody.
Yeah, let me do that. Let me do that.
Okay, so were you trying to redeem some of your rewards from your credit card?
Sorry.
I want those rewards.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I removed that person. Sorry about that. But anyway,
That's all it took.
Good.
okay. So yeah, anyway, that's all to introduce Ken. So you can take it away, Ken.
Thank you, Charlotte. And great to see everybody. Our idea was to have occasional webinars through LinkedIn here to talk about the market and your questions, particularly in where you are with your career, and see how what kind of help you need and what's going on basically in the world. Because I know I deal with it every day, as we do at Story Merchant and Writer's Lifeline, and it's very different every day. We've been in the business now for over 40 years, and apparently that makes us known already in the business. I'm always getting calls about, can't believe you're still around, and what have you got now? And do you still have that story that you told us 10 years ago or 20 years ago? One thing about this world of stories is that the people who are in it take it very seriously. And that makes me thrilled. I mean, early in my storytelling career, I kept getting calls from these people that were called trackers, and they wanted to know who controlled the rights to this or that story. And I was amazed to find out that they were getting paid good money to find out who controlled those rights, because it just gave me an idea of how important the world of storytelling is. And, they say that the world is made of not of atoms, but of stories. And I really believe it. I think that probably the most common element of human nature is wanting to know, what is your story? And asking that question, whether it's on a first date or whether you're looking to buy a car or whether you're figuring out your diet. What's the story? Is, if you're coming from another planet, that would be the first question. What is your story? And I always told my students at Occidental College that if they have a story and they don't tell it, they're betraying one of the most important facets of human nature, which is the need to tell stories and our need to hear stories. So over the years, I've learned quite a bit about the world of professional storytelling, and I've learned there's no one rule about it. It changes everything every day. The more things change, the more they say the same. And pardon me? I didn't hear that. Anyway, I'm just letting people in as they come. And so nothing is more important than stories. And I know you're struggling with stories. I recognize some of you from long ago who've been storytelling a long time, and some of you who are relatively new faces. And I think we're getting a message here saying everyone should mute themselves so we're not hearing background noise. Thank you. And there's so many strategies for dealing with it, including waiting. I mean, waiting doesn't seem like a strategy, but it actually is in this world. Things sometimes just are not right for the moment. You need to wait for the moment to change and for them to be right. And one thing I realized early in my career when I moved from the academic world to the world of Hollywood and publishing is that those worlds are structured based on delivery systems. When I started, believe it or not, there was no such thing as Amazon. There was traditional publishing, as it's now called, and there were studios, but there was no such thing as streaming. What there were video cassettes and all kinds of delivery systems. And I realized that what stories depend on are delivery systems, whether it's a spaceship that arrives from outer space, bringing aliens who want to know what our story is and who want to tell us what their story is, or whether it's a video camera of a certain way that lets us record stories in a way that we've never done before. The delivery systems for stories are always changing. But the one thing that was constant and remains constant is the stories themselves. We need stories as humans. We can't function as humans without stories. And that's attracted me from the beginning because I thought, what a wonderful thing to actually write something down that people will see and remember and want to see again and revisit. And basically, these stories are eternal. They go back in history as all the way to the walls of caves in Europe and Asia that have paintings on them telling the story of the latest hunt. As long as humans became gregarious and started living and working together, they wanted to hear the latest story. And so if you're part of that college of storytellers, I take yourself very seriously, and I hope you do too, because to me, nothing more is more important than telling a new story. I learned this on the porches in Louisiana when I was growing up. My uncles would arrive at all hours of the morning to start telling jokes all day or tell the latest by word of mouth, which goes back to the time of Homer, and then through papyruses and scrolls, very difficult way of circulation. And then in the late 15th century, Gutenberg invented a machine that churned out books to the point where thousands and thousands of people could be reading the same book, starting with the Bible, but quickly spreading to every book imaginable. So that by the end of the 16th century, books were everywhere. And now, of course, we have, not on top of books, we have audiobooks and all kinds of electronic storytelling going on, which is dizzying, and if I were still a young storyteller, I would be dizzied by the whole process and puzzled and sometimes depressed by it. And there's just no need for depression because as convenient as it is to do nothing for a few weeks and just lament your fate as being a writer, it's much more exciting to realize that the hunger for stories is just grows by leaps and bounds and never stops. So the challenge is figuring out how the heck to get to that story market. And that's why we decided to try starting these these electronic get-togethers on Zoom, just to see if there's a better way to help people than what we're already doing, where you can just ask questions and we can talk about the market in general. The market is very, very confusing in the last 5 to 6 years, starting with COVID. COVID began the process, but it went on to be strikes, and after the strikes, massive shifts in the storytelling mechanisms, where studios who used to be all powerful, owning publishing companies and owning everything, ended up, because of COVID primarily, receding in importance and opening up the ability for new worlds to come in, like the streaming companies, especially. And now we see companies like Netflix purchasing studios, and it's just unbelievably complex what's going on. We're in the middle of a revolution, and we've been in the middle of it for 10 years. And the one thing that remains consistent is the need for stories. And sometimes having a book first, we take a script and turn it into a book, is a better way to sell it. But it all comes down to visibility. How do you make a story visible? Because, if you were living in Lithuania, I used to joke when I was a Fulbright professor in Italy and met people from Europe all the time, all over Europe. Uh, Becoming a bestseller wasn't really that difficult. There were just a couple of publishers. They had parties and meetings. You go to a party, you meet, you're lucky enough to bump into somebody, you tell them your story, and the next thing you know, you're a bestseller in Lithuania. You're a bestseller in Italy. I met many bestsellers, starting with Umberto Eco when I was in Italy. But that isn't true in the United States. With the market of 300 plus million people, you can't just bump into people. You have to have an access. You have to have visibility. You have to have reviews of your books. Your books have to, in some way, catch the attention of the public. And last year, we started a new part of one of our family companies called Story Merchant Book Marketing, that is focused entirely on getting your book to be #1 bestseller on Amazon. And because we ran into a guy who knows how to do it, and we've had 5 of those so far, and it solves a problem we've been struggling with for 10 years, which is how do you get attention? And it turns out that Amazon, like many other structures in today's world, is has an algorithm that runs the way the company thinks and the way that acts. And if you figure out the algorithm, you can get your book to the top, to the attention of more readers than anybody else's. It's very complicated. It's very difficult. People experimenting on their own rarely see success in doing it. But our new partner, Sam Bregman, has done just that. And we've already had 5 of them, and we're hoping to have more, which allows us then, when we send the actual book to Hollywood, to say this was a #1 Amazon bestseller. And you can be cynical as you want about claims like that, but the truth is it creates visibility. It creates the need to take a look at it for fear of missing out on a story that somebody else might get. And so these are some of the thoughts that we have on a daily basis. So we try to attach people to stories. We try to attach showrunners, as we have with several series that we're pitching now. We try to attach actors, directors. We now have a director attached to a story that was once a book, and the book did pretty well and was not exactly a bestseller, but it was based on a high concept to begin with. And now we've got the writer of the book working on the screenplay with the director, and the director is somebody who's directed notable films and who's in love with this story. And it's all very businesslike at the same time that it's based on the excitement of stories. And if you still are one of those writers who some of them still exist, who say, I'm just a writer, I'm not into marketing, that's not my thing, then you're kind of in the wrong group, because the people who believed in marketing their own stories included Aeschylus, Sophocles, Euripides, Aristophanes, Marlowe, Shakespeare, Thomas Hardy. It goes on and on. Many of the most successful writers in human history were relentless marketers, and there's nobody there. That's how absurd it is to think that writing is just for you. It's not, it's not for the world. I used to teach at UCLA, among other places, and I always kind of laughed at the courses that were called intensive journal writing. And, I realized they were fine, but they weren't storytelling. Storytelling is when you have to find an audience. And without an audience, I don't see the point of it. So because of that, I've always been a teacher of writers from the beginning. And I thought writers are the bravest people out there because they have a story to tell and they're willing to tell it at whatever expense. I mean, there's some people on this call today who I can see for years have been struggling with telling stories and getting them read or seen in whatever way they can. And I admire their courage because they're our guiding lights through the world. I mean, one writer's story, having been ignored for years, can suddenly take the whole world by storm, even after the writer's no longer around. Moby Dick is one of my favorite examples. It was not a success in Melville's lifetime, but a few years after he died, I think it was Mark Twain who reviewed it for the first time, and suddenly it became a perennial bestseller that continues selling to this day because it caught the vein of an audience. Sometimes your audience just isn't ready for you, but you have to believe that your story will find an audience. And so we love stories of all kinds, and I've never lost my love for helping writers and for reaching out to them. And because the various companies in our family of companies are generally swamped. I mean, we have Story Merchant itself, which represents writers, and it's swamped. It's not exactly looking for new stories. We have Atchity Productions, which is swamped with movies in production and series in production. And of course, we have the Writers Lifeline, which is the oldest of the companies based out of my academic career, which helps writers tell their stories. I recently signed somebody to one of our coaching services who's telling a crazy, amazing story. I never had seen anything like it before. It was a retelling of an ancient story from an extraordinarily inventive point of view. And I'm thrilled to be working with him one-on-one to develop it into something unique and that will become visible, get the world's attention. So we're always finding delight in new stories. And as we've developed the Writer's Lifeline in recent years, it's because I miss the one-on-one contact with writers, which was fed me as a professor for years and kept me going. And I realized that one of the things that would and being in publishing is that it tends to be for the person doing it isolating because you're always focused on getting something done for one of your clients. And I missed talking to people. So in recent years, we've become active in signing on new clients to the Writer's Lifeline, which is the way that most people end up being in one of our other companies, is by us getting to know them through the stories they work with us on, and that we try to help them with either for our own later use or for helping them get started with their career in a different direction. Anyway, that's kind of my opening thing, and I felt that the biggest part of today should be answering questions that you're having with your daily struggles, and it represents scripts, not usually treatments, but scripts and books. And the other way is to send it to a service we call the Project Launch Analysis, where we analyze it, where the Writer's Lifeline analyzes it and gives you a list of its strengths and weaknesses and what to do about the weaknesses. And in the process of that, we consider whether we should get involved in a more direct, like representation way. Those are the best ways we can help you at this stage.
Thank you so much.
The
Really
tricky
appreciate
part of this business is just getting into it. The good news is, I mean, bad news is it's difficult. It's difficult to get into it. The good news is that once you're into it, it's difficult to get out of it. I mean, we have writers who do almost nothing for 10 years, and somebody calls and wants to know what they're up to and can they get involved in something. It's so distinguished and so amazing to get into the business that once you're in it, they just assume the best from then on out, and they want to know what you're working on now. So to encourage people, um, you should get into it whatever way you can. And the Writer's Lifeline, it turns out in retrospect, has always been our port of entry. More people have gotten into the other parts of our family of companies through the Writer's Lifeline than any other way, just because it makes itself available to look at new material. So,
Thank you so much,
yeah,
Dr. K.
thank you. Thanks for coming.
My pleasure. My honor too.
Thank you. Charlotte, do you want to? I see three people have their hands raised.
Yeah, Robin, you can go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Atchity. So nice to meet you. I first learned about you years ago in a YouTube video. Loved it. And I'll be quick. I just finished a manuscript about 70,000 words, and it's a combination of 60 short story. They're essays, personal essays about encounters with strangers. I'm very aware that in this country, we've taken a very negative turn to demonizing the other and the stranger. My stories seek to show through concrete personal experience how that can be, there's a different narrative, a radically different narrative. Where I'm struggling is how to find support to shape it and structure it in a way that the market will have an appetite for it, because I can get kind of philosophical and all that kind of stuff. What would be a recommended, if any, entry point to your services that I could potentially make use of, or be able to do in the future? Is that a clear question, or do you understand?
Yeah, it is. What do you have right now? What kind of writing do you have? Like,
I have a manuscript that I've done 2 revisions on myself. So, I'm not a professional copy editor. I'm also not a professional developmental editor, so I've just done my best to do it. But I
sure.
feel like now I'm at the point where I need someone that has more experience in those areas.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you need a combination of career strategy
Writing coach.
and the story strategy.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
the service we have for that is called career coaching, and it's a coaching service.
Okay.
And Charlotte can put a link up to it, but
Okay.
it's on the Writers Lifeline website, which we've just recently completed a complete revamping of, thanks to Lillian Davis, who's I see on the call here. And it's basically where you meet with me one-on-one, and I hear what you're up to, where you are, probably the most joyful thing that we writers do. And never give it up. And Linda is an example of persistence. And I believe that with persistence, something good will happen. It's just a matter of continuing to talk to people and continuing to do what you do. So let's get a call set up just
Okay.
to discuss it.
All right.
All right. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Lila, you can go ahead.
Hey Ken,
Hi.
nice to see you.
Are you still in Spain?
Yeah, I'm in Spain, in the
Oh,
very south
great.
of Spain, in Tarifa. Um,
Nice.
yeah, your post appeared just at the right time because yeah, I had some questions and you're pretty much addressing exactly the doubts that I had in my head. So it was very serendipitous that you scheduled this.
Well,
Um,
great.
uh, so I've been writing short stories, I guess for a few years, but been trying to do it more consistently lately. I guess with the eventual idea of putting them together into a book one day. Um, but when I write one, so I share it with a few family members or whatever, and maybe I will post it on Facebook or a blog or I don't know. I have the urge to share it with anybody who wants to read it. But do you think that that's is it bad to share like the individual stories, or should I hold them and then wait till I have them all together and then, when if I want to publish it at some point,
Well,
is it
that's a
bad to
good
have them?
question. That's a
Yeah.
good question that every writer goes through at some point. And I think that the answer is where you're sharing them.
Hmm.
There's the kind of professional rule is share them in a place that makes money for you and that has a readership. So
Hmm.
if you're just posting them on a blog, unless you're going to promote your blog,
Yeah.
which is where our marketing company can maybe help you, um, that's kind of like not really doing it. There's just so much out there, as you know, and we all know, that for somebody to just put up a random blog and put up a random story here and there, it's a start. And if it makes you feel better, I used to write reviews for major newspapers, and I think I wrote 500 reviews and published them before I said to myself, how is this helping? Wouldn't it be better to write a book? And I now have written 20 plus books of my own, uh, and because books get you more visibility. And reviews are nice and they give you immediate gratification. But once you're over your need for immediate gratification, uh, then you should start thinking longer range strategies and more visible ones. So one thing is there are many publications, many presses that publish short stories available to you through the internet. And now with AI, you can ask it to make a list of them for you. And getting your name out there is much better, through professional publications is much better than just doing a blog of your own, um, unless you need the immediate gratification. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you need some kind of feedback, and that's the best way to get it, I'm all for it. So you might at some point consider our career strategy coaching, where I know more about what you're doing and can give you more direct feedback. But I'm all for your found out pretty much where they are right now. Then the goal is to figure out the next level of limitation and try to pierce through it and
That's
keep
great.
going. You
Thank you.
know,
I'm definitely going to sign up for a coaching session. That's brilliant.
great.
Perfect. Just what I need. Thank you.
Good. Look forward to it. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So, Kevin, shall I just call on people, Charlotte?
Yeah, Kevin's next. Perfect.
Okay. Oh, I see. It's even in order. How neat. Zoom
Good
is
morning,
another one
Dr.
of those
Ken. How are you,
amazing
sir?
inventions. Thank you. How are you?
I'm living the dream, sir. So, I know there's a lot of writers on here, and I've approached this meeting through the standpoint of as a filmmaker, and whether that's easier or harder, I'll let the experts decide. But at the end of the day, it comes down to not only selling your work, but selling yourself. So I feel as a filmmaker, there's two avenues you have to go down, which is selling your talent as well as selling yourself as a visionary. And we're starting to get feedback on my script and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to, as an unknown, how can one succeed and not necessarily succeed, but better their chances in terms of that circumstance.
How can you succeed? That's the
Not
question.
necessarily, no. We know how you could succeed. But again, it's just getting that exposure without, you know, the days of Richard Kelly sitting outside of Drew Barrymore's production company forever and a day with a script until she says yes. I mean, that's a possibility. But at the same time, though, how does one approach before they decide to eventually just give up?
Well, you have to first of all deal with that issue. That's your inner
Well,
issue, is the whole issue of giving up. Because I mean, in one of my books, I talk about never put deadlines on your career because
never have, unfortunately.
life will immediately start conspiring against you.
Hmm.
If you, I'll do this for one more year and then I'm going to go get a job at the bank. It's like you're going to get that year will go by so fast you won't believe it because
Hmm.
life pays attention to people who refuse to put deadlines on their careers and go call me nuts, but that's I'm not going to stop until I succeed. So the real issue is setting your parameters carefully, and
Hmm.
again, that's a career coaching issue. Um, you can't. The one thing I'll tell you is never give up, never give up, never give up, never give up. Just continue. There's so many people, wonderful things in life that only the ones who continue are likely to succeed.
Hmm.
And every strategy for continuation imaginable, I have been through and urge my clients to go through. And many of the people on this line are succeeders who, because they've just continued. That in itself is massive success. Continued progress toward a worthy goal is how one writer, put what happiness is all about. Continued progress toward a worthy goal. So the progress part, can help you with time management, etc. But the worthy goal is a real insight, a real self-examination. You got to examine your conscience and your situation and everything else and adjust the goal to fit the energy required. It's still something, but it's all about the delivery. It's all about the story.
Mhm.
So that's what I would tell you. So if you want to see where yours is, the project launch analysis is exactly built to do that.
Right. So it's right now it's a book that's already been well, it's two books that have already been published. So
That's fine.
this would be then for the purpose of making it into a film or series version.
Yeah. I mean, what do you want to do with it?
We'd like to make it into a Netflix series,
Yeah.
but
So that's what we would be looking at. So send us the book, send us whatever you have.
thank you very much.
You're welcome. Look forward to it. Julie,
Hi.
great to see your face. I can't believe it. How long has it been?
30 years, maybe.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, you look like you're like a kid now. What happened?
I'm too busy to get old.
I love it. That's the best
I
comment I've heard in a while about getting old.
I I walked away from a lucrative television writing career and opened a dance studio. And it's been great. It's been fun. It hasn't made me any money, but I've been living an incredibly rich life. Um,
Great.
what Lila said was really hit home because on Facebook, your post came up about this webinar right at a time when I thought, Jesus, I miss writing, I miss being involved. Um, and then in your opening remarks, you said that you have a project with John Woo. I had a project with John Woo in 2000, I think it was, that we had sold to Paramount, but then Paramount changed um, um, management, and our project went out the door. But I believe in serendipity, and I believe the universe works the way it's supposed to work if you are patient enough. And I had been thinking about revisiting this project, but and I sold it to John Woo, and it was only in a treatment. But he loved it so much. It was going to be his first non-action movie that he wanted to do. Is Terrence Chang still his producer?
He works with him, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they were both really excited about it. And I thought, okay, just put your ass in the chair, Julie, and start and do the screenplay because I've got, a lot of screenplay writing experience. But I wasn't, but I need help kind of reshaping it also. And then looking at all the services you offer, I don't know which one to contact, the Project Launch or the Writer's Lifeline or coaching or what.
Yeah, I mean, I think because I know your background, I think coaching is probably the best way to use me in helping you.
Mhm.
And and because we're flexible, if it turns out there's another way, then we can always convert that. But we
Uh-huh.
could start by coaching because I need you to pitch me the story and get into it with you and talk
Okay.
about its marketability. That's most economical way to get started, I think.
I was going to say, yeah, how much does it cost?
Yeah, the coaching
A poor
is,
dance studio owner now.
yeah. It's funny how artists tend to be loving what they do, but not making money from it. And that's part of what we help people with in the
Mhm.
coaching.
Oh,
So,
good.
and I think that there's a discount on it because of this, um, this webinar.
Uh-huh.
And I can't quote you the price, but it's around 1,500.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But if you sign up in the next few days, stay tuned next time. Bob, are you still there? Or Diane?
Yeah, Bob is still here, and I'm just going to give a very quick testimonial. I wanted to give these other folks a chance to write, but I can tell you that Ken Atchity is the real deal. I've worked with Ken for, I think, 5 years now. Ken got my speculative fiction novel, The Cloud, published. I also did Writer's Lifeline coaching with him because his strong advice was blow it out into a trilogy. I've just finished novel two in the trilogy. It's in development as a feature film, and I'm working with a group of venture capitalists who read the novel, believed in it, and are very optimistic that we're going to be able to raise the money to shoot a high-end teaser to help Ken use it as his calling card. And I also have an historical series in development with Ken. It's been in development with Ken for 10 years, and he never gave up. And we have a colleague in Turkey who we are working with, and we're hoping to develop it as a Netflix series. So I can tell you that wherever you are in your writing career, you've come to the right place. Ken Atchity is truly an oracle of Delphi, a Renaissance man, and a tremendous gift to writers, uh, whatever your genre or whatever your stage of development. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it. It's a delight working with you too, and I know we're going to do great things together. So, and of all the people who understands persistence, Bob is at the top of the list. He has done everything to keep his career going and continue writing, and he will succeed. So, thank you for coming, and thank you everybody for coming. I'm sorry I can't get to all the questions. We I think we should limit it to an hour. Next time we'll schedule it in February and we'll start with the questions earlier because I always think that the real value of these kinds of encounters are the questions, your questions, because I can always make general comments based on your particular question. So I don't have to give a long an intro. If that sounds good to you, then I hope you'll join us next. And Charlotte, how will they know? Are we signing them up so they can get the newsletter?
Yes, so yeah, everyone will get a newsletter, and yeah, we'll probably figure out a feedback survey of some sort to give your opinions to send to everyone who attended, just to know what we can do for the next meeting. But yeah, we're gonna have these probably around once a month. So if you're on the mailing list, then you'll get the emails. But yeah, we'll also feel free to reach out to Ken if you're interested in anything as well. We're gonna keep track of the discounts for that as well if you reach out in the next few days. But yeah.
Let you know that I had been having.
Hello. Anyway, thank you all for coming again, and good to see so many of you that I've worked with in the past, and keep working. Hey, Sandy, how you doing? Gail, good to see you. Lillian,
Thanks, Ken.
thanks for joining us.
Have a
You're
great
welcome.
day, Ken. Great seeing
Thank you. You guys too. Bye-bye.
Great.
This is her.
Take
Thank
care.
you for everything you do.
All right. Jim Panos, I can't believe you came. Please contact me.